All right, we are starting Chapter 4, Section 5, dealing with determinants. Okay? This right here, if you have a matrix, A, B, C, D, which is simply a 2 by 2, or any 2 by 2 matrix, if you want to find the determinant of that matrix, all you have to do is take your A value times your D value. So take A times D, and you're going to subtract your B value times your C value. So the formula, very easy formula to remember. A lot of people who do number sense and UIL, something they do like even in the 8th grade. They don't know what it's for yet, but they'll see a determinant like, oh, I know what that is. It's AD minus BC. Okay? So right now, first thing I'd like you to do for problem number 5 is just label A, B, C, and D. Now, we'll teach you why you need to find the determinant later. Right now, I just need you to know how to find it. We'll teach you the whys a little bit later. Right now, we're just focusing on the hows. So, right here, we have A times D minus B times C. Now, my suggestion for you, everybody, is to put your A and your D in parentheses, then put a big old negative sign, put a couple of more parentheses to fill things in. Our A value is 4. Our D value is 4. Our B value, negative 12. And our C value is a negative 3. So my suggestion is to make sure you put parentheses so that you don't mess up when you're dealing with a whole bunch of negatives. Okay? Now what's the product of 4 times 4? Well, that's easy. That's 16. Minus... what's the product of negative 12 times negative 3? 36. Yes, Andrew, I see your hand raised. What's your question?
I just wanted to let you know you got your C and D mixed up.
Oh, I got the C and the B mixed up. Oh, so the good thing is, even if I got my C and B mixed up, the product is the same. So even if you get, as long as you understand that these products minus these products is your answer, you can get your C and your B mixed up. So I'll put negative 3 here and a negative 12, and that still gets me to a 36. Okay? And you get negative 20. And that's your determinant. Okay? That's your determinant for this 2 by 2 matrix. So, the cool thing is, let's say you mess up and you mix up your B's and your C's. As long as you understand it's the blue, the product of the blue, minus the product of the red, that's going to be your answer. You should be able to complete those first few problems relatively easily. That's it. All right, what we're going to be doing right now is I'm going to show you how to find the determinant for a 3 by 3 using a process called using diagonals. Okay? Now, you'll notice on your paper there's not a nice, neat little formula for you to use. So I want you guys to carefully understand the process. This column right here and this column right here, I'm going to carefully place them right there on the outside of this determinant line. So right now, take the first 2 columns and place them right here and right here. That's the first thing you're going to do. All right, after you've placed the first 2 columns side by side, then you need to group certain numbers together. I'm going to carefully group the negative 4, the 1, and the negative 4. I'm going to carefully group the 3, the negative 2, and the 4, and once again, the negative 1, the 2, and the 1. So I want you guys right now, if you don't have highlighters or colors or whatever, just you can circle them, okay? Groups of 3 right there. You're going to take, everybody, you're going to take the product of negative 4 times 1 times negative 4. You're going to add the product of 3 times negative 2 times positive 4. Okay? So we have negative 4 times 1 times negative 4, 3 times negative 2 times positive 4. We're going to add the product of negative 1 times 2 times 1. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3 individual products. we're going to have a 16. That's the product of negative 4 times 1 times negative 4. We're going to have a product right here of a negative 24. Right here, we're going to have a product of a negative 2. When you take these three individual products and add them together, you will get negative 10. All right? So right now, let's review what we just did. I highlighted three different what? Three different diagonals. Okay? I found the product of the first, I added it to the product of the second, and I added it to the product of the third, and I got negative 10. All right, we're halfway done. The next part I want you to do is I'm going to change colors now, and I'm going to start at this 4, and I'm going to make a diagonal going across the other direction. That's why it's very important for you guys to organize things very neatly. Okay? So I'm going to scroll down just a little bit. There we go. Now in red, I'm going to take a 4, a 1, and a negative 1, and I'm going to multiply those guys all together. So we have a 4, we've got a 1, and we've got a negative 1. Then I want you to add a 1 times a negative 1 times a negative 4. So we have 1 times negative 2, my apologies. Negative 2 times negative 4 plus the product of negative 4 times 2 times 3. So right now we put negative 4 times 2 times 3. So right now we're going to get the product of the first diagonal in red plus the product of the second plus the product of the third. The product of the first diagonal is negative 4 plus the product of the second diagonal is 8 plus the product of the third diagonal is negative 24. If you added the first plus the second plus the third, what do you get? You get negative 20. Okay? No, hold on. We'll get there. So the first, all the blue, we got a what? A negative 10. The second one, we got a negative 20. This is the most important part, everybody. The sum of all the products of the first. So we're going to put the sum of products. No, let me finish. All right. And you're going to take the sum of the products of the second part that we did. Very important that you subtract them. Okay? So we're going to have what? Negative 10 minus a negative 20. What's going to happen to these negatives? They're going to cancel out. It's going to become what? Negative 10 plus 20. So your final answer is just a 10. All right? All right, in review, real quick. The first thing I did was I took the first two columns, placed them side by side. Then I grouped all of these numbers in blue together, and I found their individual products. Once you find the products of all the blue diagonals, you add them together, we got a negative 10. Then we found the products of all the red diagonals, added them together, and got negative 20. And finally, we took the first, the sum of the product of the first, and we subtracted the sum of the product of the second. That is the process. Okay? Now, if I used letters like A, B, C, and D, you'd have a lot of letters confusing you. So focus on the process of this as you do the using diagonals to find your determinant of a 3 by 3. Okay?